Do you hear that? That faint, rhythmic thumping? That's the sound of the world's heart skipping a beat. Because the joke finally landed. They used to look at me and see a punchline, a mistake, a smudge on the pristine sidewalk of their civilized society. They laughed because they thought they knew the rules of the game. They thought as long as they stayed inside the lines, the monster under the bed would stay put. But then I stepped out. I stopped trying to fit into their comedy, and I invited them into my tragedy. And suddenly, the laughter stopped, the smiles curdled, because they realized the funniest thing about a cliff is how easy it is to be pushed off. They think isolation is a weakness. People, they think being different is a cage. They look at the man sitting alone in the back of the room, the one who doesn't laugh at their hollow jokes or worship their plastic idols, and they feel pity. They call it loneliness because they are terrified of their own company. But they are wrong, dead wrong. When you are an outcast, you aren't locked away from the world. You are finally, for the first time, free from it. You see, the average person is a prisoner of their own popularity. They are shackled by a desperate, pathetic need to be liked, to be invited to those boring little dinner tables where they eat flavorless food and trade scripted compliments. They spend their lives curated, polished, and pruned, all to avoid the sting of a cold shoulder. But once you embrace being the outcast, those shackles just snap. You stop performing for the gallery because you realized long ago that the gallery is empty. I found my strength in the shadows where they were too afraid to look. While they were busy chasing the sun, trying to stay within the light of normalcy, I was becoming comfortable in the dark. In the darkness, you don't have to pretend. You don't have to wear the heavy, suffocating mask of the good citizen. The shadows are where the truth lives. They laughed at my weirdness, my twitch, my laugh, my refusal to bow to their invisible social contracts, because it made them feel safe. It's easy to laugh at what you don't understand. It's a defense mechanism for the small-minded. They saw my isolation as a defect, a flaw in the manufacturing of a human being. But they didn't realize that while they were socializing, I was observing. While they were talking, I was learning. I was building a world inside my head that didn't require their permission to exist. When you finally realize that their opinions are just whispers in a hurricane, that's the moment you stop running from the storm and you actually become the storm. Think about it. What can they really do to a man who doesn't want anything from them? You can't bribe a man who hates their money. You can't threaten a man who has already lost his seat and found he prefers standing. Their judgment, which used to feel like a gavel hitting a desk, starts to sound like the buzzing of a fly. Annoying, perhaps, but ultimately insignificant. I watched them whisper behind my back for years, thinking their words were daggers. But daggers only hurt if you have skin thin enough to let them in. I grew a second skin made of their rejection. I fed on their exclusion until I was too big for their small world to contain. That weirdness. They mocked these civilized people. It became the very thing they couldn't control. You can control a man who wants to fit in. You can manipulate someone who is afraid of being alone. But an outcast is a wild card. An outcast is the variable that ruins the equation. They realized far too late, who doesn't care, that the man who doesn't care if he's invited to the party is the only one brave enough to burn the house down. My isolation wasn't a wall keeping me in, it was a fortress keeping them out, until I was ready to show them exactly what I'd become. People, they laughed because they thought I was broken. They feared me when they realized I was simply different. And in a world of copies, different is the only thing that's truly dangerous. You see, their order is a tightrope. They spend their whole lives balancing on it. Toes curled tight around a thin wire of social expectations, terrified of a single gust of wind. They wake up, they put on their ties, they follow the traffic lights, and they say please and thank you, not because they want to pull, but because they are deathly afraid of what happens if they stop. They've built this elaborate circus and convinced themselves that the wire is solid ground, but I'm just the breeze. The gentle reminder that the ground is miles below them and the wire is fraying. I showed them that their laws, their ethics, their precious little systems of right and wrong, they aren't fundamental truths of the universe. They aren't gravity. They are just a choice. And it's a choice that people only make when they have a full belly and a warm bed. It's a luxury people, a hobby they call civilization, and it's the first thing they throw out the window the moment things get even a little bit ugly. I didn't change the world. I'm not that much of a narcissist. I just took off the mask and showed them what was hiding underneath all along. You see, they like to pretend that beneath the surface there's a soul, a spark of divine goodness. But I know better. Beneath the surface, there's raw people, pulsing hunger and a desperate instinct to survive at the cost of the person standing next to you. It's chaotic, it's messy, and in its own twisted way, it's beautiful. It's honest. People, a man screaming in the dark is more real than a man smiling at a boardroom table. When the lights go out and the food runs out, these civilized people don't turn to their law books. They turn on each other. I didn't invent the hunger, I just turned off the lights. Civilized people. I pushed them off the tightrope just to show them that they could fly, or more likely, to show them how loudly they'd scream on the way down. They fear me because I'm the mirror showing them how thin the glass really is. Every time they look at me, they don't see a monster. They see the possibility of themselves. These civilized people, they see the version of themselves that exists when the paycheck doesn't come or when the police aren't watching. They hate me because I am a talking spoiler alert for the end of their movie. I am the crack in the windshield that they try to cover with a sticker. But the crack keeps spreading. They cling to their order, like a child clings to a security blanket, thinking that if they follow the rules, the world will be fair. But the world isn't fair. It's a joke without a punchline. And their order is just the desperate attempt to make the joke make sense. I am the one who laughs at the joke because I know there is no point. Their fear is the most honest thing about them. It's the sound of the glass cracking under the weight of the truth. They realize that if one man can stand up and say no to the circus when chips upple, then the whole tent is just a few matches away from coming down. And that, my friend, is the most terrifying thought of all. Most people carry their trauma like a heavy suitcase, dragging it behind them until their arms ache and their spirit breaks. They let their past define them as broken or damaged, and they spend their lives begging the world for a bandage. But me, I unpacked mine and built a throne out of it. You see, pain is the most concentrated form of energy there is. Most people waste it on tears, but if you learn to harness it, you can use it to level a city. You can't hurt someone who's already been through the fire and decided to stay there. People, they think they can threaten me with loss or suffering. But how do you threaten a man who has already seen the worst parts of his own soul and started laughing? People, every scar they gave me, every insult they spat at me when I was down, I didn't just endure it. I recycled it. I took the jagged edges of my own heartbreak and sharpened them into a blade. I turned a victim in the architect. The beauty of being broken is that you get to choose how to put the pieces back together. You don't have to follow the original blueprint. You can build something sharper, something stranger, something that doesn't feel the cold. When you stop crying about the tragedy of your life and start laughing at the absurdity of it, you become completely untouchable. It's the ultimate alchemy, turning leaden grief into golden chaos. They want you to stay in your recovery, to remain a quiet, mourning little ghost of who you used to be. People. But when you take that pain and wear it like armor, when you use it as the fuel for your fire, these civilized people, they can't comprehend someone who doesn't run from the sting. That's when the victim starts looking like the villain to people who can't handle the truth. They call me a monster because I don't bleed the way they want me to. I don't offer them the satisfaction of my suffering. Instead, I offer them the consequences of theirs. Every time they tried to crush me, they were just compacting the explosives. Now, I am a walking landmine of every no, every you're nevery, and every shut up I ever heard. I took their cruelty and made it my mission statement. You see, pain is only a weakness if you try to hide it. If you brandish it, bull. If you make it the centerpiece of your performance, it becomes a weapon that never runs out of ammunition. They gave me the tools to destroy them. I'm just the one with the vision to use them. Fear lives in the future. It's a ghost that hasn't even happened yet. What if? What if I fail? What if they hate me? What if I lose my job, my house, my pathetic little reputation? Most people are paralyzed by these ghosts, frozen in place by a future that doesn't exist. But I killed what if a long time ago. I took it out behind the chemical plant and put a bullet in its head. Now, I live in the eyes. I is here. I is doing this. I is the monster you never saw coming. Once you stop caring about the consequences, the chips or dabble, you realize that the consequences were the only things keeping you small. They were the bars of a cage that was never actually locked. All you had to do was push the door. But you were too busy worrying about the creak of the hinges. I stopped playing for the applause and started playing for the sheer, chaotic joy of the performance. When you seek approval, you are a slave. These civilized people. You are a puppet dancing for a crowd that will forget your name the moment the lights go down. These civilized people. But when you kill the need for a positive outcome, you become the master of the moment. People. I don't care if the plan works. I don't care if I'm caught. I don't even care if I survive. And that is a level of power they can't even dream of. How do you stop a man who isn't trying to win? Bull. How do you bargain with someone who doesn't want to get away with it? You can't. If you aren't afraid to lose everything, civilized people, if you've already tossed your life into the incinerator just to watch the colors of the flames, then you've already won. The game is over before they've even finished setting up the board. The death of what if is the birth of true agency. People, it's the realization that the worst case scenario isn't a prison, it's a destination. Once you've visited the bottom, the heights don't seem so intimidating anymore. People spend their whole lives trying to avoid the bandings, but I embraced the ending first, and now I'm free to enjoy the middle. I am the man who jumps off the building because he wants to know what the wind feels like, while everyone else is still debating the safety of the stairs. They look at me and see a madman, people, but I look at them and see ghosts, people who are so afraid of dying that they've forgotten to live. They are so worried about the what if that they've missed the right now. And right now? Right now is the only time I've ever felt alive. They laughed first because they thought they were the audience and I was the show. They sat in their comfortable chairs, pointing their fingers, convinced that my life was a tragedy written for their entertainment. They thought I was the one trapped in the spotlight, a sad little clown performing for their amusement. But the tables have turned, haven't they? The theater has burned down, the exits are locked, and now I'm the one watching. I watch them scramble to fix what's broken with their trembling hands and their useless prayers. I watch them try to find meaning in the madness, clutching their old textbooks and their moral code. It's like their life vests in a tidal wave. The greatest irony, the real punchline of this whole cosmic joke, is that the man they ignored, the man they stepped over, is now the only one they can't stop talking about. I have become the center of their universe. Every news report, every panicked meeting in a high-rise office, every terrified whisper in the street, it's all about me. They spent years trying to make me invisible, and now I'm the only thing they can see. They aren't laughing anymore. No, they're holding their breath, waiting for the next shoe to drop, waiting to see what the monster they created is going to do next. And me, I've never felt more like smiling. I've reached the end of the story, and I'm the only one who knows how it ends. I didn't need their respect, I just needed their attention. And I have it, all of it. They fear me because I am the personification of the final laugh. It's the laugh that comes when you realize that all your worrying, all your planning, and all your decency didn't save you from the punchline. I am the physical evidence that the world doesn't care about their feelings. My victory isn't in money, or power, or a throne. My victory is in the silence that follows their laughter. I am the silence. Bull. I am the end of their jokes. When they look at me now, they don't see a punchline, they see the truth. And the truth is, I was never the one in the cage. They were. They were locked in the cage of their own expectations, and I'm the one with the key. I'm just not sure I feel like letting them out. So, tell me, why so serious?